Hello and welcome to the Sewing Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make this quilt using fat quarters, or alternatively you could cut down a layer cake if you wanted to. So the block is made up of pieces of fabric, and I've used this Makower range called henna, and these pieces are cut into 6.5 by 8.5. And what you do with these pieces is you sash each side of the piece. So you're going to sash the long side of each one with a highlight strip. So it can be a white strip or it could be grey or black, depending on your colour palette, but you want a different colour strip to frame them. And what you're going to end up with is a piece that looks like this. So I'm just going to go over to the machine and I'm going to sew a piece of white fabric either side. As I say, this was 1.5 inches. This is 8.5 by 6.5, and we're going to sew our white fabric along the long side, which is the 8.5. So with right sides together, I'm going to sew a strip along the long side. And I'm going to use 1/4 inch seam. And along the other side. And if you were doing lots of these, I would have one long strip and I would chain piece. But for the purposes of today, I'll just show you on each side. Now I'm going to go back over to the iron, I'm going to press those back and I'm going to give them a trim. So I'm going to set my seam, press along where I've just sewn, and then I'm going to flip these back. Actually, because I'm using white fabric, I'm going to press towards the darker side of the fabric so it doesn't show through. And then I'm going to trim this up. And then when you've got all of your blocks looking like this, so you've got them with your sashing along the long side, you're going to sort them, and I'll just use some of these that I've prepared. So you're going to sort them as you lay your blocks like this. So if you look at the quilt behind me, you'll see how they're laid out. So you go with your long block going horizontally, then vertically, horizontally, let's choose a different colour, and vertically. And the beauty of this quilt is you can make it as big or as small as you want, because once you've got these blocks, it's just going to form whatever size you want. So for example, this one now is going to go this way. So the white strip frames the bottom of it. This one is going to go this way. So you're going opposites all the time. This one this way. And this one this way. And that's how you lay the quilt out. So it's great if you've got a lot of fat quarters. So you can get rid of fat quarters doing it this way, or if you've got a layer cake that you've not known what to do with, you can cut your layer cake down. So all your blocks are 6.5 by 8.5 with 1.5 inch sashing, and you can make it as big as you want or as small as you want. So we're now just going to go over to the quilt and we're going to talk about the quilting. This quilt has been made using 7 of the blocks I've just shown you going across by 9 down. You could make it bigger, you could make it smaller, you could put another border around it. It's up to you, make it your own. This one's got a little black fillet, it's got black binding, and this one has been hand quilted. And the circles have been drawn on this and then overlapped. I would imagine that they've been drawn around something the size of a dinner plate. So this quilt has been loaned to us by Julie, who does a lot of hand quilting. And you can see this beautiful design round here, and then it overlaps again. And I do like the fact that there's circular quilting with such a square and rectangular block. I think it really adds something to the quilt. And then she's very cleverly done some couching quilting in her border here. And I think it's a really lovely example of what you can do with fat quarters. So as always, thank you for watching. Have fun, and I look forward to seeing you next time here in the sewing studio.